Hi, folks. I'm here with Rocco Aceto, head coach of Greater Orlando Aquatics team. It's located in Lake Howell High School in Florida. And I think, if I'm right, Rocco, you call this team GOAT. Is that correct? GOAT swim?
Right. Yeah, it's Greater Orlando Aquatics Team.
Got it. But
Goat
there's a
swim.
whole lot more to that meaning of that GOAT, right?
There is. When I had this opportunity, it's like, what's your symbol going to be? What's your name going to be? How can you market something? And being from New England, I'm a big Boston fan. And if your parents aren't your goat, the greatest of all time, maybe some sports fans are. And I go way back. Larry Bird to recently Tom Brady, and Greater Orlando Aquatics team. When I was at a former club team for 17 years, we attracted kids from Greater Orlando. So we just took what we were doing, labeled it, and now we're marketing it. So that's kind of behind the name.
So this happened. How long ago did you start this team?
We started in the water September 1, John, and it rained this past September. It rained every day, lightning out, and people still continue to join the team. So we're at a spot now where the growth is really good. Got 147 kids in the water. One of the larger teams, if not largest, in the local area. So we've been very blessed, very lucky.
Already. Well, that goes to, I think, both you and the staff that you attract,
Yeah.
right? And the energy that goes into what you do. Now, folks, if you don't know, Rocco and I go way back to when he was 8 years old and I was 9 years old. So I'm a little older than he is, just a tiny bit. But we go back and we swam together in Maine. And I think it was a situation that came up that was very funny and you can see it in our prior interview. We tell a little bit more about it, but we've pretty much spent our life in contact since that time. And so we really have a lot in common from that standpoint. And I think another part of it is tremendous respect for each other. And he was an amazing swimmer as a child. He was way, way, way better than I was. National record holder. He was just phenomenal. And then he continued his swimming career, and he swam for the Petty School in New Jersey, which is a heavy hitting, competitive swimming program, and then on to NC State, where he made a major impact there. And then invited me to swim with him with some of the world's fastest swimmers like Rick Carey, and we were on a relay together in senior nationals. We've had a great time, Rocco and I. And not
Yeah.
only that, Rocco was at my wedding, so we've had just a wonderful time through life. And he's one of those people for me that you're driving along, and he gives you a call like, "Hey," and you haven't talked to him like for 4 years, and immediately it's Rocco. And so yeah, I love Rocco. He's just a great guy. So now that you have a little background here, he's got this incredible team he started. Actually, Rocco, can you just say some of your background in coaching? Right, you were the assistant coach at Auburn University, if I'm right. Was amazing program there that you guys built. Right,
Right.
then on to the head coach at Washington. Is that right, Washington State?
Yeah. Washington State. Yeah.
Wow. And then right, and whatever it is you touch and do seems to really, really gain energy and build. And so if you're thinking about a coach or a team that if you're in the area of Orlando, this is an amazing coach, not a good coach, an
Thank you, John.
amazing coach. And that's just me talking to you and the audience listening in. He's an amazing coach, and I'll definitely I would love to have my kids working with Rocco. So tell us about um, what programs you offer there.
The interesting part is, and I did a lot of research with some very successful clubs throughout the country. And the biggest thing is you don't know what you don't know. So we started with competitive swimming, and that's grown. We started with water polo 3 weeks ago. I already have 40 kids in the program. We merged 4 high schools. We don't have youth polo yet. It's just high school level. We have summer league, and that's growing. We have rentals. We'll get into that later. Um, we haven't quite hit the lesson market yet for different reasons. Um, uh, but we've tried a lot. So right now we basically have about 4 tracks, and we're concentrating on those to try. A lot of it's organically grown, just kids coming out. So it's exciting.
And how many swimmers did you say that you have there now?
Basically, if I round up 150 in the water,
Wow. And that's in less than a year
yeah,
that you
about
built
10
all
months.
this.
September doesn't count, so I'd say about 10 months. I have a great staff. A lot of them came over from my former club, and everybody on my staff offers something at a high level, very unique. Um, Coach Scott, I think he was fifth at NC2As on the 50 free. I mean, that's higher than you and I.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
he started swimming. He's a great story. He started swimming his freshman year in high school. By the time he was a senior, he won 4 Florida championships, I think in 2004. Coach Bernie Gunther. Um, Bernie started with me at my old club years ago, got into broadcasting. He's been the color commentator for 3 Olympics. He was the voice of the ISL with Rowdy Gaines, and his specialty is specialty videos. I haven't even tapped into him. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's a volunteer coach. Um, Coach Sylvia just left the program. She does this specialty one-on-one and Paralympics, but she's world known in Brazil. Brazil. She's from Brazil. Um, we're interviewing people right now for her position. So a little bump in the road. And really, what you don't know is my business partner Keith Yanessa and I were teammates at the Petty School. And prior to that, we swam together in the age group program under Frank Keith at Foxcatcher on John DuPont's estate. So he and I go back 46 years ago, as long as you and I go back. And he's really the business guy behind what we're doing.
Right.
So you talk about family and staff, and we've all been together for years.
Right. Right.
So
And that says a lot about you. But Frank Keith is such a wonderful man and an incredible coach, right? He was head coach of Yale, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He
Amazing.
just he
We actually
just
did an interview with him. He's phenomenal.
yeah. Unfortunately, he just passed,
Oh, I
and
didn't realize it. Sorry.
yeah, and I learned a lot from him when I was a college coach. He sat me down and said, "If you want to be a family man, do this, this, and this." He was an elite level coach, one of a kind.
And I love my conversations. I've sat down with him a few times and just he's a wonderful man.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so tell me now, because you've got this incredible background, you've got all these, from the time you were 8, you were in the swimming community, probably you're even earlier. And so that's when I met you at the state meet. But so you have all this incredible background. I remember you have an incredible mom and dad as well, very supportive and in everything you were doing. So what are you trying to instill in your swimmers? What's it all about here for you?
I think it's pretty easy. It's our whole theme, you can call it our statement, what we're about is to add value to kids' lives. And we do it through swimming. Um, Swimming is the vehicle. We never had a lot of this guidance being kids growing up in the 70s and 80s, but we kind of mentor them like we should. Kids come to training for 3 reasons, John. Socializing is the biggest thing. It's a non-threatening place to come and hang out. Fitness is the next thing. Swimming keeps them fit. A very small percentage want to become great. That's the push for excellence. I enjoy that part, but to provide an environment where there's no cell phone, there's no internet, it's just the physicality of swimming. It's a good environment for these kids to be in, and they learn. I have a bench in my office here that when things aren't going right, they get to sit down. We get to have a discussion. I mean, you're looking at a grown man with grown kids who's made a ton of mistakes on the way as a kid, right? And they get to learn from your advice, and hopefully that advice is just not swimming advice, but it's all packaged together.
Okay, so you're bringing all this incredible information in from all these sources that you had to be really great swimmer just to get to work with people like Frank and right Frank even and these other major hitters and to become involved with the Auburn program, things like this. You had to be great to do that, and you had that, and now you're bringing this down to be able to sit on that bench or have that swimmer sit on that bench and pass that information on. That the value in that is absolutely phenomenal coming from an athlete, a coach, a father, right? All this helping those swimmers understand the extra that you bring to their life. Let me just ask you a quick question.
Okay.
What's the difference between spending a lifetime like you did with all these incredible people helping you learn and instead trade it to play games on your phone?
I'll use my son as an example, and it might not be the answer you're probably asking, you're wanting to hear. For years, I wanted him to be a certain way, but he liked video games. And all I did was bitch at him, get off the damn video game. It's going to rot your brain out. It's no good for you. Well, he just graduated last week from University of Central Florida with a degree in game design. So I guess it worked for him.
So he was
Um,
able to apply it into something positive.
and what I found out was I had to push him towards his passion. I'm still old school. I don't even know how to turn a video game on. I have zero. I'm not in the target market. Um, but I think if you get away from electronics and you use your brain, logical thinking, logical reasoning, you can see some good results. Having said that, technology is part of our life. I'm a very low tech type guy, but to include it, I think there's parts that you can use to learn and how to get better. It's really figuring out the kid and what their passion, why are they here? It took me 14 years of my son's life to figure out he didn't want to be an athlete, didn't want to be like his dad. And he was always reading comic books and he was always playing on video games. And I thought, what kind of life is that? Now he trades comic books like the stock market and he's got a degree in game design. So sometimes you learn.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, it was very humbling to me. Once I figured it out, I kept pushing to his passion. And my passion still is in swimming, whether it's coaching on the deck, talking to bright people like you. But it's once you get into this vortex of swimming, it's hard to get out.
Mm.
So
For right for hopefully for the better for swimmers. But I think if it's, and I've always said this, if it's not in your heart, it may not be for you. Even if you're great at it, just because you're good at it doesn't mean that, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
you got to at least like something, and it's better to love it. And then you got to be at least good at it because you're going to have to be great at it. You're going to have to master the craft. And then you can figure out the success. But kids come for different reasons. The biggest thing, and this is going a little tangent, the biggest thing, John, that I try to instill in kids now is train with intent. Like, what's your purpose for today? And I can tell. We just went through AP exams. I haven't seen a couple of kids in about a 2 week period. And it's like, well, what's your purpose? You get a lot of, I'm not going to swim in college. I said, okay, not everybody can, but what about being the best swimmer you can now? Right? Do you go to class just to, I mean, everyone gets straight A's now, but do you go to class just to say you go to class? I mean, you go with intent, right? To do well, to pay attention. That's the generational thing I think that I'm running into.
Interesting. And to learn and try to help them to learn that concept of whatever you do it to get something out of it.
Yeah. But
Okay.
everybody's so codependent upon that phone.
Right.
Everybody's codependent. One of the best things, I love it when I ask a kid their best time. Okay, where are you at the 150 and the blank? They don't even know their best times. Then I'll ask them what their cell phone number is. They know their cell phone number. So I mean, it's just
Mm,
where we're at.
interesting.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about kind of walking away from that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the facilities that you have down there because I hear you got fantastic facilities.
Beautiful. Do you have WhatsApp on your phone?
I do.
The guy who invented that app donated the money for this pool 6 years ago, and it's 8 lanes, 50 meters. Um, it's they're 9 foot lanes. Goes to 5 feet to 12 feet 9 inches, so it's a deep pool. And when we flip it short course, we get 20 lanes short course, 8 foot lanes. Decktronic timing, big deck, um, shading. We have a 10 by 60 wedding tent. We have over the bleachers, we have about a 70 foot by 15 foot shading. It's beautiful.
And you were saying that you rent out to other teams that are looking to train over holidays, things like this.
Yeah, part of the track that earlier we discussed what we're doing, but I didn't mention we do like local high school rentals. I have another swim team, small little swim club that trains out of here. Um, we rent to in November, December, January, and March. We rent to clubs, colleges, anybody. John, we're 25 minutes no traffic to Universal to the parks, and we're 45 minutes to the beach. So best of
So
both
it's a great place
worlds.
to be. Yeah, it's a
Great
great place.
place.
Wow.
Great place to train.
And are you right in Orlando?
We're in Winter Park,
Oh,
which
Winter Park.
is yeah, Winter Park. We're at Lake Howell High School. Winter Park. I would describe that as northeast or east Orlando.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. And so if somebody was interested in renting your facility, how do they get a hold of you to do that?
it might be easier just to email me at Coach Rocco at goatswim.com.
Okay, great.
And and we have something on our website. No pricing, but we can talk about pricing if we get that far with the team.
Okay, great. And so how soon and early would they need to normally contact you? When's the best time to contact you if they're trying to rent?
Um, Whenever their budget comes out, we are talking to a lot of teams now because college teams generally have their budgets that they need to spend now, for the next fiscal year, July 1. Um, but we'll take them. We won't take you that day, but just it all has to do with scheduling. So a couple weeks out, usually a couple months out, some good breathing room. You put
Right.
together a better schedule.
The earlier the better.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And then what in the area if you're looking for the programs, things like this, same type of thing? Do they just go to your website or do they contact you through the Rocco address?
They go to our website,
Okay.
goatswim.com. That's the easiest way to get involved. And then inevitably they call me. And then we set up a time to come in and splash around to see where they're at. So
Wow, this is fantastic. Folks, if you get a chance to work with Rocco, and I told some people this in Maine years ago when he was coaching up there, and I said, if you get a chance to get Rocco and have him as a coach or his team of coaches to work with you, do it. I said, because from that standpoint, you don't get coaches like him very often in anything. So to get a chance to spend time with Rocco and understand what he has to offer, and to take that in and absorb it is absolutely a phenomenal thing. Get a hold of him as soon as you can. If you want your kids working with him, if you want to rent the pool, he's going to be very straightforward with you. He's always that way, and he'll help you out. Thanks so much, Rocco.
Thanks, John. It's always fun to look at it, each other, to see over the years where we're going in life, what we've done. A lot of good memories with you. A lot of good
That's right.
memories.
Same here, and a lot more to come.
I hope so.
Me too. Thanks, Rocco.
Thanks, John.